Released July 26, 2019 by developer Machine Games and publisher Bethesda Games, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot is certainly no indie entry to the VR scene. Let's see what these big dogs came up with.
Nothing wrong with a little vandalism. Sous les pavés, la plage.
Cyberpilot brings us to the world of Wolfenstein from a different perspective. You're not ripping through Nazis as BJ or his kids. This time you're a cyberpilot, a soldier who fights on the battlefield without actually being on the battlefield. It took me a while to figure this out, as I was really wondering, especially since when I look down I see the pilot's legs. So I was wondering if he was manning these machines remotely or not, but I have concluded that he's piloting these vehicles from a remote location. If any of you watching knows otherwise, feel free to enlighten me in the comments section, because I'm still not sure.
So, I don't want to scare you, but you may have noticed that you're currently tied to a mechanical chair device. Now just stay calm and trust me, okay?
So, since we're already kinda here, let's talk story.
I've been looking forward to this for quite some time.
You're a highly skilled hacker whose mission is to aid the French resistance in 1980 occupied France. The story, what little there is, was disappointing. Most if not all disappointments come from unrealistic or naive expectations, and that's pretty much what happened here. When a game is announced, that really piques my interest. I tried to go as far as to not watch, read, or listen to reviews, as I may become jaded by some reviewers' biased drivel or personal opinions. Games like Mafia 3, Mafia 1 Remake, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and Onslaught. There are just some titles out there that I'll always give a chance, regardless of what the masses have to say or agree with. And all Wolfenstein games fall under this umbrella as well, even Youngblood. So, I didn't care how bad people said it was, I just needed to find out firsthand. And where the story is concerned, I could tell by this lady speaking to the cyberpilot, by some of the things she said and how she said them, that a story could have been made out of this.
I've been fighting Nazi scum in Paris since I was a little girl. But this time, I think we're really going to make a difference.
Instead, nothing comes of it. You're thrown into a cockpit with very little info as to what's going on. And as the game progresses, nothing builds. The lady, your dispatcher I guess I'll call her, speaks to you as if there's some kind of connection between you both. Or at least the potential. From the beginning, she seemed to be flirting with you, but it never amounts to anything.
You have a very intense gaze. Is it weird if I introduce myself?
There are no cutscenes, no build-ups, nothing. It becomes evident that the sections where you take a break from the action and her speaking to you are simply there for padding, just window dressings. None of it amounts to anything. It's another one of those, here's a base, use your imagination to build from their scenarios.
Boom. So far so good.
The voice acting as well as the rest of the audio, including the almost absent score, is well done. Well done in the expected Wolfenstein manner. And it's also because of this why I expected and wanted more from this experience, story-wise. The visuals are also what I would expect from a title in this huge Reborn franchise. Lovely even for VR. All the details I would expect from Wolfenstein are present, from the environments to the character designs. The cockpit view is also very detailed, while in the what I'd call hub stages, where you prepare for the next mission, the items strewn about are quite detailed as well and helps to immerse you as expected in a VR title. Like looking at your hands, very crisp and detailed. Well done.
Impressive, huh?
Let me dive straight to gameplay, where many games, regardless of how shiny the presentation is, fall flat, and Cyberpilot did no different. Gameplay is where I had my oh moment, like, oh, I get why this game isn't being held higher by even the incredibly biased VR community. Wolfenstein Cyberpilot is one huge tech demo. Actually, it's not even huge, as I've played demos with more meat on the bones than this. First up, the game is over before you're even able to get comfortable with that chunk of plastic on your head. One of my biggest gripes with pSVR are the controls. Now stay with me. I know it may seem like I'm veering off in some other direction, but I'm not. Just hear me out. To this day, I have no idea what Sony was thinking when designing the Move controllers without thumbsticks. The original moves on the PS3 came with something like the Wiimotes. It had a thumbstick on one part, but not here on PS4. Why? So my point is, because the controls on so many pSVR games scream for thumbsticks and they're not present, devs have to be doing all kinds of idiotic compromises and workarounds. These workarounds make great games not so great. Makes me wonder why devs don't put a DS4 option in every pSVR game. I understand that will compromise the immersion, but so does trying to turn and strafe with buttons. So devs, just figure it out. Although the PS4 is almost at its end, guess I'm saying don't bring this no thumbstick garbage to the PS5.
Exploring your rebellion streak, I see.
And so, my other big point is, the game is not long. It's over before you know it. It's just 4 levels really, with some filler content in between levels, which would be fine had there been more to it. But before I even fully wrap my head around the no thumbstick controls, the end credits were running. And there's an option to use a DS4, but it's not practical, as the game requires the use of your hands independently. I never figured out how to even pull this lever in the introductory level. So while playing with the drone would have been a whole lot easier with a DS4, I just couldn't make it happen.
You know what a lever is, n'est-ce pas?
And let's talk about these drone stages. They also felt like padding. Like they're there to add an extra hour or so to the experience with this underpowered stealth nonsense.
Use any covers to your advantage. The drone is too fragile to get into any big fights.
Your drone has some kind of taser-like weapon, but you have to be as close as arm's length to use it on anyone efficiently. But it's a drone. Do you get what I'm saying? A drone does not seem like the kind of vehicle, once weaponized, that would be used for close quarters combat. Think about it. It's a damn drone. And it's not like the weapon could have been useful for something else. Like let's say the drone had a blowtorch on it for repair purposes. But if you tried hard enough, it could harm someone. No. This thing disintegrates people on contact. This was clearly made for offensive purposes. But it makes no sense. Like one shot, and your drone is out for the count. So it's fragile, and it has no ranged weapons. Does this even make sense?
Something seems to be wrong.
And then, I was in one of the drone levels, and I couldn't find this server room. Your dispatcher just says, go to a server room behind the generator. Like I live or work here. No directions.
In the server room, to be precise. It's right behind the generator. Go find it, Cyberpilot.
I went up to this door that seemed like the obvious choice, but it wouldn't open. Then I realized, in order to use this telescopic arm the drone has to unlock doors, I had to be in some weird and specific position for it to start the process. This stage is the only reason I didn't complete Cyberpilot in one short sitting. It pissed me off, so I took a break.
Onward, Cyberpilot.
So as a Cyberpilot, you can pilot the drone or the other 2 mechs. One being one of those robo-dogs who spits fire and the other being your conventional mech. I call the dog a mech because, well, that's what it is to me. But this is the thing with Cyberpilot, the thing that makes it so disappointing. Every aspect that showed potential, it just ultimately fell flat. Glorified tech demo, cash grab. These are some common words and phrases thrown about in the video game journalist world. But sometimes, you gotta just call a spade and simply throw shit and see what sticks. And unfortunately, these words hold firm for Cyberpilot. I would have preferred the devs just throw out some old Wolfenstein game from the past and give it full VR support, like what they did with RE7 and Skyrim, because what's on offer here is so naked. Cyberpilot needs a whole lot more clothes on to be considered anything more than the aforementioned.
Yes.
With just a handful of enemies on these empty Paris streets, 0 words spoken from your character, who also has a reveal by the last level that also leads to nothing really. Limited information from a dispatcher who clearly has a lot of nothing to say. A detailed world with minimal interactivity and very little to do. Huge wasted potential to create something substantial. I'm going to have to say, unless you pick this one up on a deep sale, you'd have wasted your money. PlayStation VR Worlds was a cool experience. But would you pay $60 for it? More power to you if you would, but that shouldn't even be for sale. VR Worlds has no business being sold, and Wolfenstein Cyberpilot deserves to be on an early pSVR compilation like that one and nowhere else, being offered up as what it is, like every other game on VR Worlds. A lovely demo of what's possibly to come. Then after developers have gotten their collective shits together, then they release a full game version, like Blood and Truth.
Oh la la. After this assignment, I'm going to have a glass of red wine and a long overdue nap.
I don't use numbers anymore. You may have realized this if you watched even one of my more recent review videos. So this is just my opinion. Ultimately, it's your choice. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to show your support by hitting the like button, the sub button, comment and smash that notification bell like it was a dinner bell to the Last Supper. If on the other hand I found some way to piss you off with said opinions, then it's a free world, right? Hit the dislike and unsubscribe buttons like you were going for a home run in the 9th inning. Either way, no love lost. Our game is never over.